Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Where's Wilder? Where is Deontay Wilder? It's been a few days since Tyson Fury announced that he was moving on, that there would be no trilogy fight. He'd had enough. He was going to have his own fight in the UK December the 5th, and Deontay Wilder was left in the rear view. And we've had Bob Arum, Fury's co-promoter, saying, look, the contract's expired. We have no obligation to face him. Tyson Fury wants to fight, and it won't be against Wilder next. And I think many of us just thought, well, Deontay Wilder's probably going to come out on social media and come out swinging. That is something that he's been known for, especially in recent years, a platform that he has really used to his advantage, that he's helped build his name and reputation, build rivalries and beefs, and he has certainly used it before to express his outrage. And he has certainly used it before to express his opinions about certain things, even calling Tyson Fury and other rivals cowards and other stuff before on social media. But now one of the biggest fights of his career is gone, and it's cricket's. His social media has been basically dormant since August. And I was just expecting, well, we're going to hear something, and pretty quickly after Tyson Fury announced that he was moving on, but nothing. And that really has been somewhat surprising. And especially given, one, the money that would be on the line. Remember that he got, over $20 million, closer to 30 for the first fight. So this third fight would probably be upwards of $10 million. It's a 60-40 split. Who knows what the guarantees would have been, but it would have been significant. And in the context of Deontay Wilder's career, it would have probably been the second biggest payday. So it was going to be not an insignificant chunk of change. And I know that if someone was taking that opportunity away from me, I would be absolutely raging. And with Deontay Wilder having spoke so passionately after the fight, about a week or so after, saying that he was a king, he would never give up, he would reclaim the title, with that sort of rhetoric behind him, I was just expecting he would use social media again, the platform he's utilized so many times before, to basically come out and say, look, what is going on? This is not actually something that should be happening. I should be having this third fight. Tyson Fury doesn't want to fight me. I'm going to, whatever. I think we would have just expected that would have happened by now. And the thing is, the silence now, it actually, feeds into a perception that people are sort of putting out on social media, through the internet, and perception can end up being reality, or at least seeming to be reality. The narrative that Deontay Wilder is okay with this, that he doesn't want the third fight, is starting to sort of, become more pervasive. People are saying Deontay Wilder doesn't want a trilogy fight because he doesn't want to be beaten up by Tyson Fury. You've probably seen that rhetoric online, and people, with silence, there's an information vacuum. It will just keep getting filled with that sort of speculation. Whether that's the case or not, we don't know, because Deontay Wilder isn't commenting. And when his co-manager Shelley Finkel is coming out with, a line here, a short quote here and there, because it's never full interviews, it's just, short sentences here and there to different media outlets, it doesn't really cut it. And as people have been saying, they need to hear from Deontay Wilder. They need to know what's going on in his mind, what's actually happening, how he's feeling about this. And I think there is something to that. I think it is not unreasonable to expect him to come out and address this issue, especially with the money that's on the line, the legacy that he'll be, as it were, denied, trying to win back his title, and he spoke so passionately about it. I think many people were just expecting he'd be coming out calling Tyson Fury a coward and yada, 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 because that's actually the sort of rhetoric he's done before. And he is an emotional character, Deontay Wilder. So I'm surprised that he didn't come out straight away. And the longer the gap is between, Tyson Fury's statements and Deontay Wilder actually saying something in public, it starts to, feed into the narrative that he didn't want the third fight. Whether that's true or not, it almost doesn't matter, because perception becomes reality. People will be like, well, he just, didn't want it. He's moved on. Tyson Fury's moving on. There is no third fight. And I guess in terms of the third fight, a lot of people are actually okay with it, because a lot of people thought that the third fight was unnecessary after how the second fight played out. But there were some interesting storylines, and I guess I have seen some people suggest that maybe this whole thing with this third fight lapsing, contract expiring, etc., maybe it's some sort of ploy to try and build up for the third fight. But to me, that seems like a bit of a tenuous thread to sort of pull, because I think for a lot of people, they're just like, okay, well, we're moving on. We're going to get fresh fights. It'll be something else. Maybe there's some sort of path to undisputed. But the silence does feed into the narrative that Wilder doesn't want the fight. And Finkel can only do so much, saying his, short little sentences and quotes. Maybe they're hanging off saying too much because of potential legal action. Remembering Shelley Finkel has said that Bob Arum saying the contract has expired is just his opinion. But if the contract has expired, as people have been pointing out, well, it's actually a fact. But I guess potentially, maybe they could make a case that the contract was deliberately run down and that they had no intention of making the fight. So legal action is still a possibility. But even in lieu of that, I think we would have expected Deontay Wilder to come out on social media and say something, anything, that he would just be talking about this, that he would be looking to sort of polarize the sort of boxing community with a statement that put it on Tyson Fury and sort of sat aside the needs for his fans and boxing fans more broadly to hear something from him. Because like I'm thinking, if it was me and this sort of happened to me, I guess there would be a couple of things I would be doing. I'd be raging at the lost opportunity. One, to try regain the title, the significant amount of money that was on the line. But just three, I mean, if it really was a failure on my team's part, I'd probably be looking to sack them as well. But like I've said in other videos, we don't know all the issues, all the facts, all the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. But what we do know now is that they're saying the contract is expired and they're moving on. And for as much as a lot of Deontay Wilder fans were coming on to different channels sort of saying it's all fake news, I guess people have to really recognize now that this is happening. So is there a response coming or not? That's the question. But the question is, where is Wilder? And it is surprising to me he hasn't come out. But what do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.